Greetings once again to the excellent students here in the Biblical Hermeneutics class at Southeastern University. This is your instructor, Dr. Larry Asplund, coming by, can you believe it, at the end of week 3. So I wanted to stop by this evening and welcome you to week 4. I love how this class leads you one step at a time, ultimately, of course, toward your exegetical paper at the end of the class, but you're not. We want to make sure that you are mastering the individual pieces, the various aspects of that before we get there, knowing that it will really guarantee you good success. I know you're also enjoying jumping into the scripture and taking a deep dive into your chosen passage in Ephesians, but also opportunities to do that by way of illustration, other passages as well. So welcome to Module 4. The Module 4 theme is learning how to do a formal analysis. So formal analysis is simply a very specific analysis of the various forms, in our case, of a writing. Art, the theater, various other kinds of forms also have formal analyses. But for us, we're very concerned about the text of Scripture. And so we're going to take apart the elements that are necessary for us to be able to analyze in order to really get a clear sense of what God is saying, what God said and is saying in your chosen passage. The module form aim, of course, is beginning with the excellent written introduction that you will access on your online site. And then several very important learning objectives are described. Number 1, to identify the concept of formal analysis. Number 2, to recognize the tools and questions employed in performing a formal analysis. Number 3, to recognize ways to read and piece together discourses found in biblical literature. So, you come upon various kinds of writing, styles of writing, each of which is a bit unique when it comes to formal analysis. But you'll be able to take some time to explore that a little further this week. Then number 4, to choose a verse and discuss it using historical and contextual analysis. You will be given 4 options once again that I think you will find interesting in the discussion forum. And then finally, with your exegetical paper in mind, to draft a formal analysis for your paper as this week's special assignment. In terms of the resources available to you this week, you have a couple of very important videos. It's a 2-parter really from Dr. Waddell at Southeastern. Part 1 of the Bible and ancient languages, and then part 2 of that same theme. Very, very important to be able to get an appreciation of how, the fact is the Bible was not written in English. And so to be able to understand that there is the need to cross a cultural bridge when it comes to language. Then reading in our appointed textbooks, reading in Scott McKnight's book, chapters 12 and 13, and of course, the very important text for us from Michael Gorman, chapter 5, which will once again be particularly important for you this week. Then a couple of presentations to review that I think provide specific definition for us this week. One called How Do You Read Discourses or Pericopes? A pericope is simply a way of saying a certain kind of reading, a certain kind of text in Scripture. It could be a paragraph, it could be a stanza of poetry, it could be a prophetic oracle, whatever it might be, given the uniqueness of that genre. It's just a specific chosen passage. And then the second review, the second presentation is genres of biblical literature. So, you don't read Hebrew poetry the same way you read a Pauline epistle. And that kind of makes sense in a simple kind of way, but it's important when it comes to exegesis, it's very important to keep that in mind. In terms of your graded assignments this week, again, you have a discussion forum where you will be able to work with another passage of Scripture other than your chosen one in Ephesians to discuss together. And so after reading your chapter in the text by Gorman, pick one of these passages: Jeremiah 29:11, Philippians 4:13, Psalm 46:10, 2 Timothy 1:7, all very well-known passages, which I think will make it particularly interesting for you. Discuss then what has been your understanding of this verse prior to this class, and then analyze the passage's context and see if it adds additional light upon that passage. And again, I think you will find it a very interesting discussion to be able to see how formal analysis could affect your understanding of the meaning of a passage. So it'll be a great discussion for you this week. And then you will do your formal analysis rough draft. Now that's a one-page piece that you're going to do with your final exegetical paper in mind, with a focus on your chosen passage in Ephesians. Of course, there's a very important document, the formal analysis rough draft instructions, that has all the specifics. So obviously you're going to want to download that, at least have it in front of you. And then you will discover in those instructions that you are to consider and write on various formal elements of your passage: the form, the movement, the structure, the literary and rhetorical context of your passage. And so you're going to explore them, unpack them, and then you're going to write about what you discover. In the process, you want to consult and use at least one appropriate source. So a source that's relevant, of course, to exegesis, one that will be relevant to your final paper. At least one. I encourage you to do more than one if you can. And so the assignment, asks you to do a one-page rough draft in narrative form, something that will be then directly relevant to your final assignment in this class. A very, very important exercise for you this coming week. And then, as per usual, there'll be a short quiz, a 10-question, open book, open note, 30-minute, limit quiz like you have been used to already in this class. I love the idea of a formal analysis. It gives you the ability to start to dig more deeply in specific kinds of ways, and to unpack the possible contexts that relate therefore to meaning. Ultimately, meaning, of course, has a direct impact upon application. So this is another one of those tools that you will need to be able to do a really great job on your exegetical paper, but it's one that you can then use from now on when it comes to doing a Bible study, when it comes to preaching and teaching, when it comes to writing. This will be an excellent source for you. So it's going to be another good week. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. As you know, I am always available to you. It is my joy to be able to share this learning experience. Our mutual love of Scripture motivates us continually to say, all right, give me the tools that I need to really do an excellent job of digging into the text of Scripture. Be sure to let me know if you have any questions this coming week. And of course, as always, you will be in my prayers. God bless you, everybody. Just have a great Module 4.